Assalamualaikum. Today we will present about segment report and interim report of Axiata Group Berhad. But before that, let me introduce our group members. The first one is Muhammad Al-Adlim bin Abdullah Sani, Nur Izzatul Batrisyia, Binti Azmi, Mashitah Binti Zaid, and the last one is me, Fatin Nur Shahira Binti Hussin. This assignment consists two parts, which is part A about FAR570 segmental report, and for part B about FAR570 interim report. I will explain a little about the company background. Axiata Group Berhad, or formerly known as TM International Berhad, is founded on June 20, 1992, which is founded on 28 years ago. The business that Axiata Group Berhad do is investment holding and the provision of telecommunication and consultancy service. Axiata Group Berhad, also known as a company that uses triple core approach, which is digital telco, digital business, and infrastructure. On 2019, Axiata Group Berhad have over 150 million subscribers around Asia. It was covering Malaysia, Indonesia, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, Cambodia, Nepal, Myanmar, Thailand, and Pakistan. The vision of Axiata Group Berhad is to aim for become the next generation digital champion by 2024. And one of the main competitors of Axiata Group Berhad is Telkomsel from Indonesia and Telenor. Now I will pass to the next presenter, Mashitah.
Hi, I am Mashitah Binti Zaid. Okay, I'm going to explain about the management approach. There are three factors to consider having a segment reporting, which are: number one, the nature of business activities of each component. The firm engaged in the provision of mobile communication and network transmission relate to the service. It operates through the following segment, which is mobile, infrastructure, and others. Axiata is also an investment holding company. They manage and operate telecommunication, relate to the business, and provide management with consultancy, technical, and engineering service. Number two, the nature of production process. In production planning, the first decision involves which type of production process. The way a good or service is created must fit with the company goals and customer demand. Axiata operates as a telecommunication company that provides digital telco. The company has controlling interest in mobile operators such as in Malaysia, Indonesia, and Singapore. As we can look, Axiata has opened Celcom in Malaysia. The information provided to the board of directors, which is the third or last point. It is availability of discrete financial information to the board of directors. Information should also be provided to the company board of directors, who is not the CODM, as the information would be used in the assessing the overall performance of the company and may be used to make decisions about resources allocation to different areas of the entity business. Next, what is type of segment? There are two types of segment, which are business segment and geographical segment. For business segment, it is a distinguishable part of an enterprise that is involved in providing an individual product or service, or a group or related product or service, and that is subject to risk and return that are different from those of other business segments. Next, for geographical segment, it is a distinguishable part of an enterprise that is involved in providing product or service within a particular economic environment, and that is subject to risk and return that are different from those of component operating in other economic environment. Now I would like to explain about the CODM and the responsibilities. The CODM is a function and not necessarily a person. That function is to allocate resources To assess the performance of the operating segment, it is likely to vary from entity to entity. It may be the CEO, the Chief Operating Officer, the Senior Management team, or the Board of Directors. The title or titles of the person identified as CODM is not relevant as long as it is person responsible for making strategic decisions about the entity segment. Dato' Izzatul Idris is currently known as the CEO of Axiata from 1st January 2021, and he is responsible for overall success for Axiata Group Berhad and for making top-level managerial decisions. He is also responsible for communicating on behalf of the companies with the shareholder, government, entities, and public final decision. Dato' Izzatul Idris is also responsible for leading the whole development of the company, short and long-term strategies, and creating and implementing the company's vision and mission. Now, I would like to explain about the responsibilities of CODM are: number 1, supervise and assess the management performance to determine whether the business is being properly managed. Number 2, ensure that the strategic plan of the company support long-term value creation and include strategies on economic, environmental, and social consideration underpinning sustainability. Number 3, need to understand the principal risks of the company's business, and they need to recognize that business decision involve the taking of appropriate risk. Number 4, set the risk appetite which the board expect management need to operate and ensure that there is an appropriate risk management framework to identify, manage, evaluate, and monitor significant financial and non-financial risks.
Assalamualaikum and hi everyone. My name is Muhammad Al-Adlim bin Abdullah Sani, and I will continue the presentation with segment report. First of all, what are the process identify the reportable segment? Once an operating segment has been identified, a decision must be made whether it has to be reported or non-reported. As stated in MFRS 8, operating segment are only required to be reportable if they meet any one of the quantitative threshold tests, which is the 10% threshold test. There are 3 quantitative thresholds, which are: the first one, revenue. Total revenue of a segment is 10% or more than the total revenue for all operating segment. The second one, profit. A segment profit or loss is 10% or more than the combine of all profit or loss. Lastly, asset. A segment asset are 10% or more than the total of all operating segment asset. This means that if the operating segment meet one of the quantitative threshold that I mentioned it before, it qualifies to be presented as a separate reportable segment. However, failure to meet any one of the quantitative criteria means that the operating segment may be disclosed as other segment. Nevertheless, operating segment that do not meet any one of the quantitative threshold may be considered reportable and separate disclosed if the management believes that the information about the segment will be useful to users of the financial statement. Figures show are extracted from Axiata Group Berhad Financial Report 2020 in the notes to financial statement. The threshold test calculated are based on quantitative threshold revenue. After calculated amount using the formula, the percentage show of the segment are as follow. There are 8 operating segment will be test. As for the Malaysia segment, the test show 24.80%. For Indonesia segment, 29.22%. Next, Bangladesh segment, 14.56%. Moving on to the Sri Lanka segment, 10.58%. Nepal segment, 5.75%. Cambodia segment, 5.34%. Second last, infrastructure segment, 7.31%. And lastly, other segment, 3.06%. Based on the calculation, segment of Malaysia, Indonesia, Bangladesh and Sri Lanka are more than 10% of combined revenue of all operating segments. Therefore, it can be said that based on 10% threshold for revenue, these 4 segments are reportable. Other than that, which are Nepal, Cambodia, infrastructure and other segments are non-reportable. This is because it does not meet the 10% quantitative threshold test. Moving to the next test, 75% threshold. Why we must calculate 75% threshold? This is because to ensure total external revenue attributable to those reportable segment is at least 75% of the entity total revenue. So, let's say if the total revenue reported by operating segment constitutes less than 75% of entity revenue operating segment, it should not be to be identified as reportable segment until at least 75% of the entity revenue is included in the reportable segment. The figure shows 75% test. First of all, we must find the total external revenue reportable segment, which are total external revenue Malaysia plus with Indonesia plus with Bangladesh and plus with Sri Lanka. We will get 20075,889. Now, let's use the 75% threshold formula, which is total external revenue reportable segment 20075,889 divided by total revenue 25717,968. The test is 78.06%. Therefore, it is identified as reportable segment because of the combined external revenue exceed 75%. The other four segments, which are Nepal, Cambodia, infrastructure and other segments, are not reportable. It should be reported as other segments. This is the new segmental report for Axiata Group Berhad as at 31 December 2020. Next, I will pass the presentation to Faiza.
I am Nur Izzatul Batrisyia Azmi, and we will get into the conclusion. The advantages of segmental report. The first one is accurate representation. Segmental report help the analyst to see through all sectors. We can see which sector doing the best and which sector is doing the least in generating profit. This can increase the awareness of investors for companies' true performance. The second one is separating profitable segments. The key advantage of segment reporting is transparency. For businesses that operate in different categories or geographic areas, segment reporting can reveal which areas are profitable and which are drains on the bottom line. If the segment reporting shows a business its overseas operations are more profitable than domestic operations, it could prompt a change in strategic direction. Done properly, it keeps managers from hiding unprofitable ventures. The third one is improved context. Segment reporting also allows stakeholders to get a better sense of fluctuation that might affect overall numbers. If a business reports much higher earnings than expected, for example, segment reporting shows where those earnings are coming from. A stakeholder can look at the same report to determine if the numbers are sustainable. It is designed to help investors better understand the business and its potential cash flow. The disadvantages of segmental report. The first one is risk of unwanted disclosure. Since the information from segment report is very useful and relevant, there may be risk of unwanted disclosure to the competitors that can benefit from the information given. For examples, the competitors may analyze the report and predict the decision made by the chief of decision making. The second one is data manipulation. Segment reporting lends itself to data manipulation if the information is reported in the truth management's eyes style. This gives the company leaders more discretion in how it determines how segments are constructed and what metrics are reported. Managers may group together businesses with different business models. It can also cherry-pick metrics to send the desired message to the stakeholders. Losses in an internet division, for example, could be grouped with an unrelated profitable business unit to paint a better picture of performance. The third one is emphasize on the present. Segment reporting can place too much of focus on short-term numbers. For example, a business might create a division just for its online work. That division could run into a significant deficit before the right people and infrastructure are in place. If this these losses are outweighed by the company's overall performance, they might not stand out on the financial statements. However, breaking out those numbers as a data point via segment reporting can lead to pressure to reduce those losses to enhance short-term earnings. Now we will continue with Part B, Interim Reporting. I will pass the presentation to the next presenter.
Now I will talk about the basics of preparation of interim report. But let me give you the meaning of interim report. Interim report is a set of company financial statements for a period shorter than a financial year. These are two bases of preparation of the interim report. The first one is intermediate. Intermediate is a part of the annual report. The second one is discriminated. Discriminated is interim report prepared in a separate period, and the report are prepared in periodic basis. This method is usually used by a company. Axiata Group Berhad also use this method to prepare interim report. Axiata Group Berhad prepare the interim report using periodic basis of 3 months for the 4 quarter. I will pass to the next presenter, Nur Izzatul Batrisyia.
The accounting policies and method of computation applied in an unaudited financial statements are consistent with those used in the preparation of 2019 audited financial statements. These are two of the accounting policies used to prepare the interim report of Axiata Group Berhad. The first one is MFRS 3, Business Combinations. MFRS 3 is equivalent to IFRS 3, Business Combinations, as issued and amended by the International Accounting Standards Board (IASB). The objective of this MFRS is to improve the relevance, reliability, and comparability of the information that a reporting entity provides in its financial statements about a business combination and its effect. The second one is MFRS 139, Financial Instruments, Recognition and Measurement. The objective of this standard is to establish principles for recognizing and measuring financial assets, financial liabilities, and some contracts to buy or sell non-financial items. There are 3 types of interim reports. The first one is quarterly. It is issued by the company 4 times a year. Second one is bi-monthly. It is issued by the company 6 times a year. The third one is semi-annually. It is issued by the company 2 times a year. As for Axiata Group Berhad, we use quarterly type of interim report, which the first quarter is from January to March, the second quarter is from April to June, and the third quarter from July to September. Lastly, the fourth quarter is from October to December. Now, I will pass the presentation to the next presenter.
I'm going to explain about the period for current and comparative of each statement prepared by Axiata Group Berhad. For the statement of financial position, the current interim report for Axiata Berhad, it is at 31st December 2020, which the period is from 1st January 2020 until 31st December 2020, while the comparative interim report is at 31st December 2019, which from 1st January 2019 until 31st December 2019. Next, for the statement of profit or loss and other comprehensive income, it will divide by 2, which is current and comparative period. For the current interim period, report will be 31st December 2020, which starting from 1st October 2020 until 31st December 2020. For cumulative, it is from 1 January 2020 until 31st December 2020. Next, for comparative interim report, it is 31st December 2019, which is started from 1st October 2019 until 31st December 2019. And for cumulative, it is 1st October 2019 until 31st December 2019. Now we go to statement of cash flow. Current interim report 31st December 2020, which is started in January 2020 until 31st December 2020. And as comparative interim report 31st December 2019, it is started December 2019. Last but not least, statement of change in equity for current interim report 31st December 2020, which is started 1st January 2020 until 31st December 2020, which for comparative interim report 31st December 2019, which is 1 January 2019 until 31st December 2019.
Now, I will continue for the last presentation, which is to propose any two adjustments related to the interim report of Axiata Group Berhad. So, technically, as you can see the statement of financial position, we will propose two adjustments. The first one is inventories. The cost of inventories as at 31 December 2020 is 141,663. Meanwhile, the net realizable value of inventories is 135,000 as at 31 December 2020. The second one is trade and other receivable. As at 31 December 2020, the amount of trade and other receivable is 4,362,394. It is estimated that 10% of the amount is uncollectible by the end of the year. As a result, for adjustment 1, value of inventories equal to lower of cost or net realizable value, which are net realizable value 135,000 is less than the cost 141,663. For adjustment 2, it is estimated that 10% of the amount is uncollectible, meaning that only 90% of the amount are collectible by the end of the year. The 90% times with total of trade and other receivable 4,362,394 equal to 392,6,154.60. This statement shows before adjustment and after adjustment. As we can see, the amount of inventories and trade and other receivable become decreased after adjustment. So that's all from us. Thank you for listening and Assalamualaikum.
Bye.
Bye.